So to go back to the where we were last night in the other thing, that was a little excursion on the Quran, just to encourage all of us. Ramadan's coming up, to encourage us to study the Quran. إياك أن تهتم بالأرزاق لأنها في ضمان الخلاق. So he warned us about being obsessed with provision, having hum about provision, being fearful of provision. That's one of the things that happens in our culture, is that there's a lot of fear of provision, which is a disease of the heart. You should have certainty that your Lord created you and will provide for you. He's going to provide for you. And then he says, وَخَصَّةً لَيْسَ شَيْءٌ يُوجَدُ فَوْقَهُمَا مِنَ الْخَيْرَاتِ يُحْمَدُ حُسْنُ ظَنٍ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ بِالْعِبَادِ فَكُنْهُمَا وَجَنِّبَنَّ لِلْعِنَادِ. That there are two qualities that you can't find anything over them that is more praiseworthy from all the good things in the world. حُسْنُ ظَنٍ بِاللَّهِ, having a good opinion of Allah. And we talked about that. I talked about that yesterday and the day before. أنا عند ظن عبدي بي فليظن بي ما شاء. I'm in the opinion of my servant, so let him think whatever he wants. You know, the Quran, من وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه. Whoever finds good, let him thank God. But whoever finds other than that, let him blame only himself. People don't reflect on the meaning of that hadith. If you're finding other than good in your life, then your faith is it's messed up. Because everything is good for the believer. عَجَبًا لِأَمْرَ الْمُؤْمِنِ فَإِنَّ أَمْرَهُ كُلُّهُ لَهُ خَيْرٌ. How wondrous is the affair of the believer. All of his affair is good, or her affair. That's the hadith. Suhaib al-Rumi relates. In atahu Allahu shakar. Right? If God gives him, he's patient. وَإِنْ ابْتَلَاهُ صَبَرٌ. And if he tries him, if he gives him, he's grateful. If he tries him, he's patient. وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا الْمُؤْمِنِ وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا الْمُؤْمِنِ. And that nobody has that state except a believer. Somebody who has belief. That when they get afflicted, mashallah, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ مَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ. This is Allah. Because Allah is doing everything. And so what he's saying is, have a good opinion of Allah. Have a good opinion of creation, because the creation, لَا يَتَحَرَّكُ إِلَّا بِإِرَادَةِ اللَّهِ أَقَامَ الْعِبَادِ فِي مَا أَرَادَ. That creation can't do anything except what Allah allows them to do. If they all either اسْتَمَعُوا, right? If all of them استمعوا ليصيبك, you know, and they want to harm you, and Allah didn't decree that they could harm you, you wouldn't be harmed. And if they all got together to help you and prevent something from afflicting you that Allah had decreed would afflict you, they can't do it. رُفِعَتِ الْأَقْلَامِ. You know, the pens have been lifted. The ink is dry. So anything that happens to you, it's good. You know, they say it's all good. Seriously, whoever started saying that somewhere, it's probably a Muslim in the ghettos of America. It's all good. Like they say in the hood. You know, it's all good. That's true. What they're saying, it's true. It's all good. Because for the believer, it is all good. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, if you find other than good, only blame yourself, because you're not seeing the good. It's your vision this doesn't mean and this is where, you know, our religion is a religion of intellect. It's not a dummies religion, despite Islam for dummies. You know, it's not a dummies religion. The Quran describes the people who understand as ulil absar, you know, ulil albab, you know, ulil nuha, people of intellect, people that have intelligence. People, this is a religion of intelligence. So it's important to understand that this doesn't mean, you know, as the tanks are rolling in and taking over your country, it's all good. You know, but when you resist, you resist nonetheless with that knowledge. So it doesn't mean you don't change what's out there. You don't change what's wrong in the world, because there are wrongs in the world that need to be righted. There's wars that need to be waged. There's things that need to be changed. That's all true. But your inward understanding is always rooted in this. It's either a tribulation from Allah or it's a blessing from Allah. It's one or the other. So injustice in the world is a tribulation from who? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't mean that those people who are doing it, perpetrating it, aren't responsible. They are, but it's Allah who's enabled them. Had Allah wanted, He would have stopped them. So if you don't have that knowledge, your tawheed is deficient. It's incorrect. And that's why you only have yourself to blame, because you haven't learned your religion. If you're seeing other than good, you haven't learned your religion. Because the Quran says, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. He's going to test you. وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضُكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً. We made some of you a tribulation for others. أَتَصْبِرُونَ. Will you show forbearance? Will you be patient? Allah made some of you a tribulation for others. So your family could be your tribulation. Right? It could be your tribulation. Your family, your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters. They could be your tribulation. Will you show patience? Like the man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, Ya Rasulullah, عندي أخي أصيره يقطعني أعطيه يمنعني وواصره. Right? I give, he doesn't give me. I maintain my kinship bonds with me, he severs me. أحسن إليه يسيء إلي. I do good to him, he does wrong to me. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah is with you as long as you continue like that. In other words, you're the one that God's going to help. Because you're doing the right thing, irrespective of what their response is. It doesn't matter. And that's why Muslims don't have a problem saying they're sorry. Because sometimes you'll do it just to rectify things. Because your ego is not so big that it's like, I'm not going to say, he has to say he's sorry. I'm not going to say I'm sorry. He's the one that's wrong. She's the one that's wrong. It's her fault. And that's just the cycle. It just goes on and on and on. And it's just, it's exhausting. Sometimes that's all it needs. You just say, you know what? I apologize if I did anything wrong. That's the way, and it's so interesting. You know, somebody in Morocco, one of the teachers there, he had this faqih. You know, he's a scholar of just outward knowledge, and he wasn't interested in tazkiyah and he said, you know, the end of your path, the beginning of our path is better than the end of your path. In other words, the end of outward knowledge, the beginning of this path is better than the end of your path. And he said, I don't believe that. He said, well, I'll show you. He said, come tomorrow after Asr and visit me. And he had his students, and he said, when this faqih is going to come in, and when he greets you, don't reply, don't say anything. Don't reply to him. So he comes in, and he says, Assalamu alaikum. Nobody says anything. He says, Assalamu alaikum. Nobody says anything. He says, Assalamu alaikum. Nobody says anything. He says, Antum juhal, a bunch of ignorant people. Did you know to say salam is mandub, but to respond to it is wajib? Didn't you know that? So the Shaykh called him over, he sat him down. He said, listen. He said, I have a man, he just became a student last week. He's going to come in. I don't want you to say salam to him. I don't want anybody to say salam to him. I just want to show you something. So the man comes in. He says, Salam alaikum. Nobody says anything. He says, Salam alaikum. Nobody says anything. He says, Salam alaikum. Nobody says anything. He says, Astaghfirullah. Please forgive me. Did I offend anybody? Wallahi, forgive me if I did anything wrong. And that's what he said. It's like, the beginning of that path better than the end of the other path if it's always pointing outside yourself. You know? And there's a lot of people, that's just where they're at. The blame game. But if you read the Quran, go through the Quran and you look who blames in the Quran. Just look at the people that blame and then look at the people that blame themselves. That's a good exercise. Go through the whole Quran and look at the people that blame others and look at the people. Shaitan blames God. Bima aghwaytani. Shaitan's like literally blaming God. Adam alayhi salam could have said, you tricked me, you put that tree there and then you sent Iblis and I thought he was actually a friend, and he could have done that. Really, if you think about it. He could have just, it's not fair what you did. That beautiful, that was the best tree in the whole place. That fruit looked better than any other fruit in the whole. He could have done that. But he wouldn't have been the Khalifa. He didn't. He said, I wronged myself. Yunus, same thing. When he's in the belly of the whale, you sent me to those ridiculous people. You know, in Nineveh, I mean, I tried everything I did. They were so stupid. It was all their fault. I made it all clear. He could have said that. Really, if you think about it. Because there's lots of people, that's their response to the same type thing. But none of them do that. The Prophet ﷺ, when he went to Ta'if, he could have done the same thing. Look at these people. Smash them between mountains. Look what they've done to your beloved. Ashku ilayka dha'fi. I complain to you my weakness. Wahawani ala nas. He didn't say ihanatan nas. I'm complaining to you their treatment of me. He said, I'm complaining to you wahawani ala nas. My insignificance. My insignificance. He didn't say their humiliation or their mistreatment. My insignificance. Hawani ala nas. He complained that he was so insignificant to them. وَقِلَّةَ حِيلَتِي. And that I have no strategy. I tried to do this. I thought coming here would help. I don't have anything left. That's what he said. إِلَى مَنْ تَكِلُنِي. Who are you going to send me to? إِلَى عَدُوٍ يَتَجَهَّمُنِي. To some enemy that treats me terribly. أو غريب لا يعرفوني, or some stranger that doesn't know who I am. إذا لم يكن سخطك علي فلا أبالي. As long as you're not upset with me, I don't mind. I don't mind. It's an amazing statement. So, do you want to share? Because now I'm interested. People, is there a joke? Somebody was laughing.